All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays. Like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? How's everybody doing tonight? This is another episode that's brought by ASAP Sports Network, and this is the Monday night recap show. And tonight, you're joined by myself, Ace, and I am with J-Mac.
What's up, everybody?
And then none other than Messround. And then tonight, we actually have our special guest, which is the Vic. And we brought her on tonight because she said she had some excellent things to say about this game tonight. But before we get started with this game,
I actually believe she said the words, "I have some beep
to say." Yes. So before we get started with this, so Vic, why don't you go ahead and tell us who we're being sponsored by in the show?
We are being sponsored by Suzanne's Paparazzi. Suzanne's Bling. She's open 24/7, paparazziaccessories.com. Everything's $5. You got necklaces, earrings, bracelets, rings, name it, it's on there. It's all awesome. I ordered some last week and absolutely love it. I've talked my mom into ordering more for my niece's Christmas presents. Paparazziaccessories.com, consultant code 160920. And it's all lead nickel free.
And didn't you get it pretty quick, too? Like, it came pretty quick.
Yeah, I got it in like 4 days, yeah. I ordered on a Friday, and I got it the following Thursday, so yeah, it was super quick.
All right. So Dave, my question for you is, how can people win a free shirt? Why don't you tell me, how can you win a free shirt?
Well, it's pretty simple, actually. You just watch our shows, comment, like, share. And if you can't do that or don't want to, you can always pay $25 shipping plus shipping and handling and buy one.
Bam, right there. $25 shipping and handling. And guess what? You will get your ASAP shirt ASAP. Just saying, it comes just like that. Do you know where I got that one from? I got that one from none other than the ever-intelligent Christopher Brown. He uses that whenever we go live, so I like to use that one. You get your ASAP shirt ASAP.
That's cute.
Right. I love it. So when we look at tonight's Monday night game, we actually talked about how going into this game, we're like, you know what? This game is not going to be very good. I would say actually for the most part, it was kind of entertaining. It was actually a pretty good game. It went down to the wire. It went down with no time left on the clock. So since Vic was super excited to talk about this one, Vic, why don't you go ahead and get off your chest what you wanted to say?
This game was exciting as watching two dumpster fires battle it out. Who's going to be the worst dumpster fire tonight? And the Jets won again. So congratulations, Patriots! You beat the less worse dumpster fire. It's just, everything was horrible. I mean, the Jets showed a little bit of life, and I like that. I mean, Flacco got some balls up there. That one touchdown with was it Crowder? The guy that got the 2 feet in. That was awesome.
That was Rashad Perriman.
That was Perriman? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. See, that's how much the Jets are important to me. I don't even know the players that I watched the game. But it was a battle of the two dumpster fires, and the littlest one, the littlest dumpster fire won. So it's kind of opposite. It was not fun.
So, J-Mac, my question for you in this one is, so I would say it was right around the third quarter when they were talking about that this was a huge game for New England, because they were talking about how next week New England goes up against the Miami Dolphins, and you know how well the Miami Dolphins have been playing. They go, okay, so if New England wins this game, they're like, that puts them right back in the division race, because they go their next three games are against the Dolphins, the Raiders, and the Ravens. Hey, I'm just saying what they were saying. They were saying this puts them back in the division race. So
ESPN letting these guys drink before they go on the air now?
They got to. They got some hand
Buffalo
sanitizer.
Buffalo is 7-2. 7-2. And New England won their third game, and somehow they're in the division race? How? How are they going to catch Buffalo? Like, someone answer that question for me. How are they going to catch Buffalo? They're not even going to catch Miami.
Miami's 5-3, so they're talking
Miami's
about
two full games ahead of them, and if they beat them next week, they'll essentially be 3 games ahead. Well, it'd be 3 games and then a 4th game by beating them twice this year. So,
now keep in mind, New England actually beat Miami the first time. That was one of their wins.
I mean, it doesn't matter. They're 3-5. They're not in the race anymore. I don't know who said that. Whoever said that should be fired, quite honestly. Like that was the dumbest thing anyone said. That's worse than some things people say on this network.
Right. So
if I would have woke up tomorrow morning and someone wrote that on our network, and we all knew who I'm talking about, we're not going to mention any names, but I would have messaged Dave and been like, "What is this guy talking about? It's way too early to be reading this crap in the morning."
I'm just talking math, J-Mac.
Right. So my question for you, Mess Around, is tonight you saw that Joe Flacco was starting for Sam Darnold. Joe Flacco actually had a decent game, except for that fourth quarter when he threw that horrible interception. So with the way you saw Joe Flacco play tonight, and you know that right now the Jets are pretty much done. They are 0-9. They're coming out saying that Sam Darnold is still your future. He's got a shoulder issue. So if you're the coach and the GM, do you continue to start Joe Flacco and to say Darnold, just rest up? What would you do? And what was your synopsis of Joe Flacco in this game?
Listen, I knew this question was coming. I knew this was going to come. First, let me start out by saying this isn't a game I would normally watch. The other reason I watch it is because I'm on the show and I have to cover it. It actually ended up being quite a good football game, though, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Flacco played pretty decent, but he went to the well one too many times. And now that third one's the one I'm talking about, where he threw the pick. He hit the 2 deep balls early, and then that last one just killed them. I mean, he had a tight end wide open in the flat. Instead of checking down there, he goes for the home run shot. And, and with your question about should he start over Darnold, absolutely. He gives them the better chance to win than Darnold does. Yeah. I mean, if he plays like he did tonight, that's hard to say if he's going to, because he hasn't played great until tonight. We got the Flacco that looked like Flacco in Baltimore when he was good there until he threw that pick in the third. So I would go with Flacco.
Yeah, and I think when you look back at even at his days in Baltimore, I think that the biggest knock on Flacco when he played in Baltimore too was that Flacco, everybody always said that Flacco had a great arm, which I'm not denying. He did have a great arm. But even in Baltimore, you could see he would try to go to the well one too many times. He would always try and make that deep pass when somebody was open underneath. Now, I'm not saying that I disagree with you with Flacco should start over Donald, because I kind of feel the same way. So, and that's why I'll send this one to J-Mac also. So, J-Mac, tell me, do you agree with Mess Around that the Jets should start Flacco for the remaining of the year?
Well, yeah, I mean, for 2 reasons. One, like he said, they give him he gives them a better chance to win, and it's just on the fact that him and Perriman played together in Baltimore. So they already have some chemistry there, quarterback to receiver. And then you have Moses Gore in the back room. Call him Moses because he's been around forever. The guy just doesn't stop. Just amazing. And then the second thing would be if Darnold is hurt at all, you're 0-9. You're done. You know you're not going to the playoffs. You know you're not making a run. Why would you rush him back to the field and risk further injury if he is your future? There's no point in doing that.
So, Vic, what is your take on that one?
Do they honestly believe Sam Darnold is their future? Did they outright say that?
Yes, they came out and they came out and they said they're not going to trade him. They're not releasing him. They said that he's their future.
So with the number 1 pick, who they gonna choose?
Well, so right now there's actually a lot of talks right now that the Jets could actually trade the first pick for a wide receiver or offensive line or running back. That's actually one of the talks right now.
They're blowing a lot of smoke. Sam Darnold is not their future. They know he's not their future. They see Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, and they're frothing at the mouth. I say they're just rested him so he doesn't get hurt, so that maybe they can trade him for something in the offseason. Because he's not their future. They know it. He's proven it time and time again. So yeah, keep starting Flacco. Let Darnold, whatever his injuries have, let him heal up, and when he's healthy, trade him in the offseason.
So when you look at the games tonight, obviously the Patriots were able to win it on a last-second field goal, and I'll go ahead and I'll start with J-Mac on this one. Tonight is kind of the game that you kind of saw, in a way, you kind of saw the Cam Newton of old. He played decently tonight. He played better than he has pretty much all season. So why do you think, and besides it being the Jets, because I know that that's where you're going, because they played the Jets, that's why he played good. Other than that, why do you think that Cam Newton actually did decent tonight?
I mean, I think he played a decent game, but why did he play a decent game? I mean, you take away me saying it was the Jets, and there's not a whole lot else to say for why he played decently. I mean, you throw a decent quarterback into the NFL, and he's 9 weeks into a system, he's probably going to put a decent game together. It doesn't really matter what caliber of quarterback he is. I mean, you got to remember, you've had guys like Mark Sanchez and Tim Tebow take their teams to the playoffs. Sanchez took his team to the championship game. You don't have to be a great quarterback to have a decent game. So to say that Cam Newton had a decent game or he's the reason they won, I mean, yeah, he had played a part in it, but again, they played the Jets. Like that's really what it comes down to. They played the Jets. And he should be thinking Nick Folk right now. I mean, the guy hit 3 field goals. And he hit that last one, was 52 yards or whatever it was. And the guy's been around for like 14 years. So, yeah. And he's got that. Why can't I remember the receiver's name? That guy actually is a good talent.
Bird.
I'm sorry?
Are you talking about Bird?
No, the other one. The one that had like 12 catches.
Yeah. I'm
yeah.
on that one too.
But Bird is the veteran on that team.
So Nate just left a comment. I'll leave it up there.
Oh God, this is what we were talking about. Like, man,
he's out. He's done.
The Jets were pretty much already mathematically eliminated. They were pretty much already done. So
if you were in the NFC East or wherever it is with the Cowboys and them, they'd still be in.
Yes, they would. So, mess around. My question for you is actually going to be a Cam Newton question, because if you look at the way he passed the ball tonight, he actually did a decent job. So when you look at Newton, because he did a decent job with passing the ball, he didn't run the ball as much as he normally does. So do you think that actually helped him tonight, not having to rely on his legs so much?
I think honestly that helped him is they didn't ask him to do a whole lot. If you look at it, he threw a lot of stuff underneath, and when he did go deep, he didn't complete a lot of balls deep. I think he had one pass over 20 yards the whole game. So their game plan was built on getting the ball out quick, and that's why his numbers look decent. Other than that, I didn't think he played all that great.
I mean, because don't. Sorry, I would say, don't you think, mess around that like they give a game plan for you or I to go out there and just hit slants and dump it off to the running back all night? We could probably complete 15 out of 25 passes doing that, honestly.
Right? Because that's all he did all night.
I guess
stuff.
Yeah, but I guess it would depend on honestly on who you were throwing to. So, and I know a lot of what people are saying this year is that Cam Newton is having a bad year because he doesn't have anybody to throw to. Are you going to put that into perspective too? Because tonight they did put up points, but it was against the Jets. So, are you looking at that going, yeah, Cam Newton doesn't have any weapons?
Yeah, but Brady didn't have any weapons for years either, and he still played well and won.
I'm just saying, like, that's what a lot of people are talking about, because I will tell you, this roster that they have right now is pretty much trash. They pretty much, I'm telling you, like, their best weapon is Julian Edelman, but he's actually hurt, so he's not playing.
Yeah, but he had Julian Edelman up till what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, right. And he still didn't do anything when he had him. So, what are we talking about this for?
Because it's been brought up. That's why we're talking about it.
By people that matter. Like, I'm sorry not to be that way, but like, we are paid to do this. Like, this is our job, and so we're telling you, the team is trash. Both teams that played tonight is trash, and fortunately for one of those teams, one played a little bit better at being not as much trash as the other one did. That really is what the end of that's what it comes out to tonight. Both quarterbacks that started tonight had no other options, so they ended up on these teams, and that's who they're playing for. I feel bad for Frank Gore, quite honestly.
So, Vic, my question to you is, when you look at that deep pass that Joe Flacco threw to Mims that was picked off, when Flacco actually had a tight end that was wide open in the middle of the field, do you believe that if Flacco does not throw that pick, who's to say what happens on that drive, if the Jets score or not? But if Flacco doesn't throw that pick, do you feel like the Jets win that game?
Yes. Because they would have run at least 2 minutes off the clock if he did that.
Yeah, because it definitely felt like all that momentum right there just shifted at that point in time.
Oh yeah. They would have totally won it.
I would say
Don't you doubt me. Don't you doubt me.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that I'm doubting you. It still would have been close. I mean, mess around. What is your thinking on that? Do you think that the Jets would have won that game if Flacco does not throw that pick?
Look, if you honestly think about it, if you look at the third quarter, each team had the ball one time in the third quarter, and they both scored. That was the whole third quarter. Each team had one possession. So I think if he doesn't throw that pick, like Vic said, they run at least 2 to 4 minutes off the clock by running the ball. And I think the Jets hold on to win if he doesn't throw that pick.
Yeah, because in a way, the running game tonight pretty much looked the best it's been all year. And so I don't understand why you take a shot on first down. That just didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, you're going for your first win. You got to run that clock down a little bit. I mean, J-Mac, what do you think? What is your opinion on that?
Would they have won? Nobody knows, because he threw the interception. Now, they had momentum in there going for them. Yes, they did. And it would have been like a big golf clap for them to get their first win. And at this point, everyone's like, it's okay, Jets. win your first game whenever you feel like it. It's okay. Like, why are we still talking about this team? They're 0-9.
I asked my Magic 8 Ball, and it said Outlook looks good. So that means they would have won.
They're 0-9.
You're lied to. You're lied to. Your able lied to you.
It lied, Vic. It lied. Just like you know why we're doing this game? Because even if we weren't on this show tonight,
Nobody
we'd probably
else
still
wanted
be
to.
here doing this. You know why? Because everyone else is like, who wants to talk about the Jets and the Patriots? Nobody.
There you go. There you go.
Nobody wants to talk about the Jets and the Patriots.
Except the
That's
Jets
just
and
something
Patriots
that
fans.
nobody wants to do. But you know what? I do give the Jets fans credit. They're still out there. They're still cheering. They're still saying, yeah. However, the one thing that I do give the Jets fans credit for is they're not fans who will go out there and be like, this is our year. We're going to be Super Bowl champs. The Jets fans will come out and say, we suck. I know we suck. And we're going to be getting the first overall pick. I know some Jets fans, and that's what they say. They're like, this is why I hate the organization. This is why, but that's why I stand by him, even though we suck.
It's right
Okay,
or die.
so I have a question, right?
Okay.
Who's a worse owner and runs a worse organization?
Jerry
Jones
Jones.
or Woody Johnson?
Ooh, I don't like the way
Well-
the name Woody.
How
God.
I'm
That's a
gonna
tough one.
actually say, in this aspect, and I know that Vic is not gonna like this, but in this aspect, I'm gonna actually say it's Woody Johnson. I think that Jerry Jones actually runs a little bit better of a Dallas team, because actually when you look at this Dallas team, they actually have talent along the offensive side of the ball. They have a Zeke Elliott, they have an Amari Cooper, they have a CeeDee Lamb, they have a Michael Gallup. So they actually have talent on the offensive side. They should have talent on the defensive side, but that hasn't showed yet. When you look at this Jets team, they're just flat out, they're bad. They're bad. When your best offensive weapon is Jamison Crowder, that's their best. And I know you're going to say it's Rashad Perriman. I'm pretty sure you're going to go with that. But
Moses Gore.
Moses Gore.
I was going to say Gore.
Gore. I know you want to go Frank Gore, but he's so up there in age now, they don't rely on him as much as they would at his younger age. So he's the veteran on that team. He's the leader on that team, but he's definitely not the best talent on that team. If you look at talent-wise, it's Jamison Crowder. So Woody Johnson has absolutely killed this team. What? Brandon Herrera said, but could still make the playoffs. They're not. They're not going to make the playoffs.
It could happen.
The Jets are done.
They're not mathematically eliminated from the playoffs.
Only if you're playing on Madden and you're just now starting the season are they allowed.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Like, yeah, I could walk out my front door and get hit by a truck tomorrow too, but what are the chances? I mean, come on.
Right. So, yeah, so my thing on this is to answer your question. The worst owner is Woody Johnson.
Why? Ooh, sorry.
What?
Musa.
Here's Rabbi.
Right there. Like, we don't need. Oh God. Anyway,
Serenity now.
Woody Johnson is the worst owner. You know what? He's not the worst in the NFL.
Yes.
I take that back.
Who's the Giants? Can we go Giants?
Name
No.
No, he's not a worse
Came out
owner
the screen.
than Woody Johnson.
No, I can give you the worst owner in the NFL.
Hit me.
How can it not be Woody Johnson? What has
Dan-
Woody Johnson done with the Jets?
Dan Snyder for the Washington football team. Because first off, he couldn't even come up with a name for his team, so he named it the football team. Okay, that's number one.
Yes.
And number two, he waited until week 9 to actually tell them to put Alex Smith on the floor, on the field.
Okay, Brandon Herrera, I give you props on that one.
Clowning.
Oh.
But anyway, well, no, and I know you're talking about Dan Snyder being a bad owner, but at least Washington before was actually competitive. And I know you're going to go back to the Sanchez days.
In the 80s?
Yeah, they haven't been.
The last time that Washington was good was when RG3 was at quarterback. That was the last time that Washington was good. Other than that, they haven't been good. The only reason they have even a remote chance at making the playoffs this year is because they play in the NFC East.
We have a different definition.
I understand that, but RG3, that was their only division title in 23 years. The last time they were good, their quarterback was Jeff Hostetler. Anyone remember that name?
Yeah.
How long ago was that? And look who he said. No. Look who he drafted. Look who his quarterbacks were. Heath Schuler, Gus Farrat. Should the list keep going? Rex Grossman.
No, that's okay. But I'm saying, look back. It's like 2 or 3 years. Look back then when Alex Smith first came and took over as the quarterback in Washington. They started the season at 5-2. They were actually a competitive team. They were 5-2. They had every opportunity at winning the NFC East. Why didn't they? Because Alex Smith broke his freaking leg. That's why they did not win the NFC East. That year, they were going to win it. They were really competitive that season. When you look at this Jets team, what have they done as of late at all?
They went to 2 conference championships not very long ago, by the way, if you want to have this argument. And okay, so if we're going off one season, all right, Jacksonville made the AFC championship in 2017. I guess they're not a terrible franchise either.
The reason why I'm not saying that they're not a terrible franchise. So if you want to go down that route too, because you can look at the teams that have never made a Super Bowl, and at that point, you can call all those teams a terrible franchise. So Brandon Herrera just left a comment too, and I'm just going to put this up really quick. And he's like, how weird would that be if Washington won the Super Bowl? Your 2020 Super Bowl winner is the Washington football team.
That's not going to happen.
But Woody Johnson has killed the New York Jets. I think that's when are they going to be good again? We don't know. They drafted a Sam Darnold, which obviously they're saying that he's still their future, which some of us agree, some of us don't agree on that. I think some of us are and Vic, you're saying no. I don't know how you feel about it. I honestly don't know. But you have to look at so far, what have they given Sam Darnold? What have they put around him? Honestly, I'm just saying honestly. Around him.
I'm not saying that they haven't given him weapons, but let's just go back to Dan Snyder for a second. The guy took Dwayne Haskins. Okay, correct. Dwayne Haskins, who was third string in the last game, and that was his future in the franchise. The only owner that may be worse in the history. Well, he wasn't an owner, but he was a GM. Matt Millen might be the only one who was worse for the Lions. Let's face it.
You know what they're going to do next? They're going to take Fields and they're going to ruin him too.
Well, hopefully. Are you saying Field?
Yes, Fields.
I don't think, honestly, are you saying that he's going to Washington?
I'm saying there's a chance he can go to Washington. Their record's not that good.
No. Well, no, because, and here's why, because Washington is going to actually get wins in the NFC East, and that's because Alex Smith is going to actually start games for them, so they might win a couple games, and that's going to put them too far up to where they will not be able to get Justin Fields in the draft. Because
I'm just saying, if they have a chance to get Fields and they do end up with Fields, they're going to kill his career too before it started, like Haskins.
Correct. So that Washington team is like the franchise where the quarterbacks go to die.
They're the new Chicago.
I thought that was Detroit.
No, it's Chicago.
No, I wouldn't. Nah, I wouldn't say Detroit. I mean,
Or Cleveland.
first round, I give you props on that one because quarterbacks go to Chicago and they pretty much die. But can you even say that Nick Foles died because he never really arrived? He had that one decent year when he won the Super Bowl with the Eagles, and all of a sudden everybody was so high on Nick Foles talking about being elite. And I'm like, okay, he came in off the bench and played good off the bench, but he's never been a good starter. He's never been a good starter.
No.
I didn't like when we acquired him, and I still don't like it today. I'm not a big Foles guy. I could care less for the guy. He had that, like you said, the one good run with Philly, and he made a few good plays. Defense kind of carried him to that Super Bowl. Yeah, he put up 500 yards in the Super Bowl. He played great in the Super Bowl, but he doesn't play anywhere good anywhere but Philly. Anywhere else, he flops. Philly, he's magic there for some reason.
You know, and
So
J-Mac, go.
let's just say you have to go back to the comment that Mr. Nathaniel McSquirt, whatever, how you say his last name. He's talking about the
Jaguars with Blake Bortles, right?
Right, which I know, Nate, and I know that he's not saying that in a bad way. He's saying it because the Broncos have Blake Bortles. That's the only reason he even brought that comment into this. He can answer that if he wants to, but it's because Blake Bortles now plays for Denver.
Okay, so
that means Denver's going to the championship game.
So
in like 30 years, maybe.
So I want to know. Do you agree or not agree? And that's completely okay if you don't. It's your own opinion. So you're honestly believing and saying that you truly believe that the Jets did a good enough job giving Sam Darnold people around him to show what he could actually do. Yes or no?
I think offensively they took Le'Veon Bell from Pittsburgh when everyone thought Le'Veon Bell was still going to be good. And now he turned out not to be good. So they tried to give him a piece, and it didn't work out. I'll give you that one. They gave away all their defensive players, which I don't know what they were thinking there. So there's another one for Woody Johnson. I have no idea. So I don't know. They need to do something. They need to get better. They'll take another quarterback, I'm sure, and ruin them too. So
right. And so here was actually an interesting stat about Bill Belichick too, jumping on the Patriots side. Does anybody remember Bill Belichick's first year with the New England Patriots, which was 2000? When he first took over the New England Patriots, they went 5-11 in his first year as head coach. Everybody's like, wow, what is he going to do with the Patriots? And then all of a sudden the next year, they had a winning season. And then the next year, and every year after that, they kept getting better and better and better. So do you believe that this is just like a one-year thing for the Patriots, and you're going to look at this team and be like, okay, now Bill Belichick's going to be able to turn it around in free agency and the draft? What do you guys think? Do you guys think that this is a one-year thing on the Patriots? Because even though they won tonight, let's understand it was against the Jets, so it was nothing impressive.
No, I don't think it's a one-year thing because who's your quarterback going forward? Is it Cam? Is it Cam at this point? I don't think it is. And so
No, it's not.
So if you start over and you draft another quarterback, then you're talking about rebuilding, and that takes 2 or 3 years at least to get that in place. So, no, it's not a one-year thing with the Patriots. But that doesn't mean that Belichick's in a bad place or he's going to – I mean, they had a lot of guys opt out. So maybe that's all part of the master plan. We don't know. But it's not just 1 year.
No, but and there's been a lot of stuff going around too, and the Vic, I want to see what your thoughts is on this one too. So there's been a lot of talk going around that this is Jimmy G's last year with the 49ers. Now everybody knows how high Bill Belichick was on Jimmy G. So if the Niners cut ties with Jimmy G or decide to trade him or whatever, do you see Jimmy G ending up with the Patriots back with Belichick where he started?
Yeah, why not? I mean, Josh McDaniels knows him. Belichick knows him. If he wants to go back, I'm sure they'd welcome him back with open arms instead of having to draft one and then, take that young quarterback through the gauntlet of terror that is the NFL season. I mean, you got a guy come in, probably still knows the offense, knows some of the people there still. I mean, you can get him, and then whatever with your draft pick, pick a receiver to go with him. I mean, New England's got the potential. I mean, they got N'Keal Harry, who was killer at Arizona State. Is he hurt? I don't know if he's hurt or not, but he hasn't been in doing much. But he's a tall guy that can make the catches if needed. So if you can get Jimmy G and then use your draft pick for another offensive weapon, absolutely.
Yeah, and going back to receivers for a second, to where you're talking about like in Keel Harry, if you look at a lot of the receivers that the Patriots have had historically, and especially as of late, New England's not really one of those teams that seem to go after big receivers. They tend to go after tiny slot speedy guys. That's typically what they seem to go after. So, mess around. Is that one thing that you feel like the Patriots might be lacking? Is a receiver that can go up and get it?
Oh, definitely. N'Keal Harry could be that guy if he can stay healthy and on the field. I don't know what his deal is if he's hurt, like Vic said. Yeah, for sure. But they, like you also said, they like those small guys over the middle. They just traded for a slot guy from Miami. I can't remember what his name was, but he's supposed to be an Edelman type. That could help out in the passing game for them.
I think.
Go ahead. What'd you say?
I think Tom liked the small guys. I mean, you see him in Tampa Bay. He likes little Scotty Miller. He likes the little guys in the slot.
Yeah, he does.
He's never a big fan of the big guy on the outside.
No,
so I think that was Tom making that choice.
I really think that the biggest guy that Tom really had his whole time there was Randy Moss. That was pretty much the biggest guy that Tom ever had there, and even Belichick. Other than that, they haven't really had any big receivers, and I don't know if that's going to really ever change because that just seems to be the New England way. So I'm gonna this is actually a good comment that Brandon Herrera was making, because since Bill Belichick has 6 rings with the Patriots, and we know that history shows in the NFL, it's what have you done for me right now. So how many years right now do you see New England actually giving Bill Belichick to say, hey, you need to bring New England back to the New England ways of winning ways? How many years do you think that they give Bill Belichick if he has more seasons like this? How long do they give him? And I'll go ahead and I'll start with the Vic on this one.
I think it's how many years does Bill Belichick want to keep coaching? I'm about 95% positive Josh McDaniel didn't take any other head coaching job because he knew he was going to be the successor in New England. So I maybe 1 or 2 more years, as long as, I mean, it's Bill Belichick, I don't care if he's 0-12 or 0-16. The dude won you 6 rings, and he lost his Hall of Famer quarterback, and he's got no offensive support whatsoever. Let him rebuild. Let him get everything ready in line for Josh, and let him go on his terms. You owe him. They owe him that much. I mean, after all he's done. So I say Bill wants to coach maybe 1 or 2 more years, and he's gonna walk away.
So, mess around. What do you think?
Vic hit it right on the head. I don't think it's a New England decision. It's a Belichick decision. Whenever he's ready to walk away. I mean, like Vic said, he's done so much for that organization. They've been on top for so long, and like you alluded to earlier, they had a lot of guys out for COVID. They get those guys back next year. A little bit of free agents sprinkled in with the draft. It might not take them more than a year or 2 to get back to where they won't get back to where they were, but at least playoffs. And then maybe he steps aside and McDaniels takes over.
All right, so J-Mac, what's your thoughts on this too?
As long as he wants to coach.
Man, a few words.
Well, I got really nothing else to talk about with these 2 garbage teams. Like, we're still talking about them this long.
No, we're just talking. I'm talking about Belichick because it was brought up in the comments. The question was asked if they can't turn it around.
I understand, but he'll coach as long as he wants to coach. Period.
And it's probably
I
because
think they're both right.
yeah, and it's probably because of how many rings he's won. Now, maybe if he's only won 1 or 2, then obviously they don't even give him that many years to let him turn it around. You don't. So jumping away from this game now, I know you guys are ready for that. Yes, thank God, right? So this one, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start with Mess Around Dave. And my question for you is, if you had to think back to this weekend's game, who would you say was your standout player? Who were you the most impressed with?
The most impressed with?
Yes.
Gosh, I'm gonna have to go with Tua. He showed a little bit of something this weekend. He didn't do much last weekend, but he stepped up this weekend.
Okay, so J-Mac.
I'll you know what? I don't want to, but I'll go Justin Herbert. I'll take that away from Vic.
Oh my God.
These losses are not Herbert's fault. He can't do any more to win for this team. There's nothing more he can do. Nothing. So it's unfortunate that he's in the position he's in and their defense can't hold the lead. But Justin Herbert's the real deal. Right now, I don't know. And this is honestly, it would be flipping a coin on who wins Rookie of the Year, whether it's Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert. And that's the truth. So
yeah, because I think everybody realizes that that this past weekend, the Chargers could have won again. Has Phantom Jr. just makes that catch. All he has to do, because he's got the ball right there. So all he's got to do coming down is just hold onto the ball, and he could not do it. That was like that. That's what cost them the game. So it's like every week to go on that. The Chargers are finding a different way every single week to lose. I don't really think there's really any more ways that they can possibly lose. Like, you're going to know that at some point they're going to have to win. They can't keep finding ways to lose. So
Yeah.
the Vic, since he said Herbert, you're probably going to go with the same guy, I'm assuming, or do you have somebody else in mind?
I was actually going to say somebody else, but someone else said it, and then somebody posted it. So now I'm going to look like a copycat. So I'm not doing it. I'm flat out not doing it. I'm going to take Mr. Drew Brees. He lit up
That's
the
a great
Bucs.
pick.
Lit him up. Poor little Tommy.
Now, the
took
Vic,
his ball and went home.
were you expecting a blowout like that, though, honestly?
No way. But it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It cost me some fantasy football points because Gronk was my tight end, but I don't care.
It cost a lot of people fantasy points because I know people who and there's even a guy in our league that had Tom Brady as his quarterback, and he's glad that the person that the other guy had left was a kicker. So he's like, I was up by 5. He's like, I'm just glad that the other person had a kicker and they did not have a chance to come back. So he was completely happy about that one. My outstanding player this week, I'm going to have to go with Dalvin Cook because yet again, the guy ran for over 200 yards again. 2 consecutive weeks, he came out and has absolutely balled out of his mind. Dalvin Cook right now, he's leading the league in rushing. He's done everything on this Vikings team. Without Dalvin Cook, Minnesota doesn't win their last 2 games without question. That's crazy how he's got like close to 500 yards in his last 2 games. Insane. So that was my standout player of the week. J-Mac, what would you say was the biggest surprise for you, either loss-wise or somebody who you would say underperformed and you expected to play better? It can be anything, an upset or anything.
my biggest surprise is the incompetent refs in the Houston and Jacksonville game. And on that that touchdown pass to Will Fuller when the play clock is at 0 for 5 seconds. And I'm not talking like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like I sat and counted. I went back and watched the replay, and I'm literally like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. While the play clock is sitting at 0, and they still got the snap off and threw a touchdown to Will Fuller.
Now
That's the most incompetent ref play, the second most incompetent ref play I've ever seen. Second most.
Right. And so when you're talking about that, you know that we've refed games before too. So you know how we've been told in the past that, you give them maybe an extra second on that play clock if you need to. You give them an extra second. But it sounds like you're saying that they gave them like an extra 5 or 6.
It was a lot. It was funny because I believe it was Mike Pereira who was on that game. It could have been Dean Blandino. I don't remember which one it was. But he even came out and said that he's like, yeah, you give them that extra half a second. If it hits 0 and they snap it right after that, you don't call delay a game because you give them the benefit of the doubt. He's like, but I'm literally sitting here watching this and I'm counting. And you're talking they could have ran a whole other play by the time they snapped the ball after it hit 0. It was awful. And it cost them the game in the end.
Yeah, so you were actually talking about I think Messer might have asked me this though too. What was your thoughts on Luton when he started from Oregon State? Since you were talking about the Texans and Jags, how did you feel that Luton did his first career?
Are you asking me?
No, I was asking J-Max since he talked about it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't know you were talking to me. I think Jake Luton played well. I mean, 300 yards, and he might only have 1 touchdown, but I think he controlled the game well. And unfortunately, he made a terrible decision at the end of the game. They still could have came back and tied it right at the end of the game, and that 2-point conversion was a terrible throw. It wasn't even close.
Right.
But hey, it was his first start ever. I'm just glad to see another Oregon kid coming out and getting a chance in the NFL, to be honest. And so he played well. And I don't know if they go to him or if they go to Gardner Minshew when Minshew comes back. It's definitely a controversy now with the way he played.
All right, so this one, I'll go to mess around on this one. Your biggest disappointment of the weekend. And just like I said with him, either player-wise or upset-wise or anything.
Okay, my biggest thing this weekend is Pittsburgh not blowing out the Cowboys. How did that happen? I just don't understand it. I didn't think Dallas was going to be close to in this game at all. And somehow it comes down to the end. Did Pittsburgh just play down to their competition?
It was a trap game, I think.
Yeah. People often talk about those trap games, and people go, do they exist? No, they do exist, because you look at teams and you're like, oh, okay, this week we're playing an easy team. Next week we're going up against a hard team. So we're looking past this team going into next week, and they want to start preparing for that next game instead of this game. So you start playing down to your opponent, and that's when they trap you. So I'll go to the Vic on this one. Who was your upset?
Well, that guy took my answer. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I would have to say the ending to the Chargers and Raiders game. That was very disappointing. That the receiver couldn't hold on to the ball again, and Justin got sucker punched again.
I mean, okay, yeah, he didn't hold on to it, but
it's just that he got sucker punched again when he,
Is the catch rule not the worst rule in the NFL? I mean, come on.
100%.
What more
Thank
do
you,
you
Des
have
Bryant.
to do? Like, he caught the ball, he got 2 feet in, he went to the ground, then he dropped the ball when he was on the ground. It's such a interpretation play. You're making a call right there on the field, and man, I'm sitting there like, that's a touchdown, and then they take it away, and it's so, I don't know. It's one of those. It's a judgment call, but man, it's such a bad rule.
A few years back, And I can't remember who was playing, but one of the announcers was like, I don't even know what a catch is anymore.
It's true because
Yeah.
by rule, it's possession, 2 feet, and a football move. And you're telling me all three of those things didn't happen on that play? I mean, they all did. Like, he had it for, I don't know, 4 or 5 seconds, made a move, got his feet in, and then fell to the ground and dropped the ball. I mean, by rule, that's a catch, but it is what it is, you know?
Yeah. That game also brought me my heartwarming moment.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. When Justin and Marcus met at midfield after the game. That made me feel good. That made me feel good. Before and after the game, he sought him out just to let him know. Two Oregon pros, man. 2 legit great guys.
So going back to the whole catch rule and everything else for a second. So Dave, you probably know where I'm going with this too, and you even say it as a Bears fan. Several years back with Calvin Johnson in the end zone when they called that incomplete pass. Even you yourself for many years said that was a touchdown.
You're talking about the one when it should have been the game winner against my Bears?
Yeah.
Yeah, that should have been a touchdown. Lions should have won that game. Yeah.
Yes. For years, you have said as a Bears fan, you said that was a catch.
That was a touchdown for sure. For sure. He was robbed.
And so that's where it comes down to.
Another controversial one is the Des Bryant play in the playoffs.
That's what started this whole rigmarole.
Yeah, and I knew you were going to say that. That one's questionable. That one's so hard because
that was a catch. That was a catch. Just because it was your Packers doesn't mean it wasn't a catch.
No. The only reason I'm saying I don't know is because we don't know what a catch is now. Because
back then that was a catch.
Because at that point he did not have both feet down. He leaped for it and then came down and lost it. So that's why everyone's like, was it catch? Was it not? I don't know. You know,
your favorite coach of all time, Holmgren, came out and said it was a catch.
Oh, right. Wait, my favorite coach?
Not Holmgren, McCarthy, excuse me. Your favorite coach, McCarthy, came out and admitted it was a catch.
We're not going to Mike McCarthy.
What are you doing?
We're not doing that crap. We're not going there. All right. So my biggest disappointment of the week, if I had to pick anything, and this one, oh man, I actually had to go with the Arizona Cardinals. I was expecting them to actually come out with a victory over the Miami Dolphins. Kyler Murray is one of those guys that are so up and down. You never know what you're going to get from Kyler Murray. You just don't. And Arizona is supposed to be one of those teams that I legitimately thought could win the NFC West. But at this point in time, I don't know if they can because they're losing to teams that they should beat. I'm not taking anything away from the Dolphins because they have the number one scoring defense in the NFL, but still.
I'm glad you said that because the Dolphins aren't a slouch by any means. They got some players and they can play. No, they're going to be in some games.
At the beginning of the year, I said they were a sleeper team, but I did not think that they were going to be this good. I said they were going to be sleeper, but not this good.
I mean, you know who they got? They got a secret weapon, and his name is Mike Gesicki.
Right? Probably one of the most underrated tight ends in football.
Absolutely. That is no word of a joke. I'm not being sarcastic with that at all. Like, he actually is a legitimate top 5 red zone threat in the NFL for a tight end. The dude's
I didn't draft him for nothing.
I mean, the dude's like 6'6" and 260. I mean, he's built like a linebacker, and he's out there in the red zone. He's a legitimate threat for that team for sure.
And you know what else they did? You know what else they did? They made Adam Shaheen a weapon, something Chicago couldn't do for 3 years. They actually made a use out of the guy.
Yep.
And they got him for a 7th round pick.
7th round pick, Adam Shaheen. But now when you're talking about Mike Gesicki, yeah, he is one of those tight ends that are not going to get you a ton of catches every game, but he is an absolute, like you said, he is an absolute red zone threat. That's all he does. He scores touchdowns like crazy. That's what he does.
Yep.
He's the new
All right,
Chris
so-
Carter. All
Huh?
he does is catch touchdowns. He's the new Chris Carter. All he does is catch touchdowns.
All right, so my last question of the night before we hop off here. I'm gonna try and make it an easy one for you, and on this one, I'll go ahead and start with the Vic. Seems like she wants it. She wants to hit it out of the park on this one. I will go ahead and I will ask you, since we're at mid-season, who is your mid-season MVP right now?
Russell Wilson.
Still, with the way he's kind of stepped back the last 2 or 3 weeks.
When you say step back, played one step lower than amazing.
So 2 of the last three weeks.
Who else would I pick?
No, I'm just saying, like,
Who means more to their team right now?
no, it's
Who
a
is the team's
it's a legitimate question. No, it's just a legitimate question. When you're looking at how he
got a
struggled
legitimate answer for you.
the last couple weeks, that's what I'm saying. You still see him up there with how he struggled the last couple weeks.
When you say struggle, he only threw for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns.
He threw for 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He fumbled twice, and then the week before that, he threw another 3 interceptions. So that's why I said the last couple weeks he's been struggling, and so I don't really think that that's really hurt his MVP race because he was up top, but when you start turning the ball over like that, it does put you a step back. It starts putting you a step back.
So let's look at why he's turning the ball over so much, because he has to be it. There's no running game whatsoever at the moment. He has to be the offense. He has to force the ball downfield because who else is going to do it?
I like that bad man in DK Metcalf. He is starting to become a prime time receiver. I don't want to say elite yet, but he's starting to be a big time receiver. I'm really liking what DK Metcalf is doing. So with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, they have a thing going there. I think all they need is one more receiver. And
they got Josh Gordon.
Yeah, well, he's not really playing though. He's not
They
really
got Greg
playing.
Olsen.
Really, the washed up Greg Olsen?
Did I sound serious when I said it?
right.
They need a running back. They need a running game.
No, I don't want to. Chris Carson's not horrible. He just hasn't been playing. Healthy.
Yeah,
he just has to stay healthy.
They have DJ Dallas, like DJ. Wicka. No, just no.
And I love the guy's name, Travis Homer. I love his name. Homer. All right, so I'll go ahead and go to J-Mac on this one. J-Mac, your mid-season MVP.
I can't disagree with the Wilson pick. I really can't. The only other one, I guess the only other person you really throw into the mix, you can't shy away from what Dalvin Cook is doing. And I know Minnesota's horrible, but the dude's a beast. So that would probably be the top 2 right now.
Mess around.
Don't you say Mitchell Trubisky. Don't do it.
You know, it pains me to say this. It really does. But I'm going to say Aaron Rodgers right now. The guy's just playing lights out the last few weeks.
Blasphemy.
I was on the Wilson train for the last couple weeks, but he's fumbled, turned the ball over. I get that he is the guy and he has to force it down there, but
so does Rodgers. So does Rodgers. He technically has one guy he's throwing to, which is Devontae Adams.
But they got a running game.
When Aaron Jones is healthy too, but
maybe throwing Patrick Mahomes in there.
Yeah,
he's playing well the last few weeks.
Yes. Now, going off that though, the one thing that I truly want to see also is besides, because we always talk about the offensive side of the ball, but when you look at the defensive side of the ball, I look at one guy that I'm like, how is he not in consideration ever? And that's Aaron Donald. That guy is an absolute beast. He's a bad man. I don't understand how he is not in the case for MVP, especially this year. He's been so impressive what he's been able to do on the LA Rams already. He's pretty much a double-digit sacks already. He disrupts quarterbacks at least 6 times every game. He's just a bad man. So at some point, I feel like they do need to look at the defensive side instead of just looking at the offensive side and being like, hey, we got to start giving some defensive players some credit also.
Show him some respect.
Show him some respect. Put some
I
respect.
get what you're saying, but if you look at it, a defensive guy hasn't won MVP since back in the 80s, and that was Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, with Lawrence Taylor, yeah.
So, and it's all about the offense these days. Unless you're breaking a record on defense, like the only way I see Donald get is if he breaks the sack record this year. But I'm not talking by a sack, by 1 sack. If he breaks it by like 5, he'll get it.
We also can't forget about Ben
I don't know.
Roethlisberger.
I don't think he will. Really? No, you can't put him in the MVP race.
The dude is taking his team to 8-0. I don't like him. I hate him. But I mean,
has it really? But the thing is, it hasn't really been him that's led his team to 8-0. It's been the Steelers' defense that has led the Steelers to 8-0. That's what it's been.
The defense that almost lost to Dallas. That defense.
Yes, it's that defense.
I just checking.
That defense. Every defense is allowed to have a stinker. Even if you're a top defense, you're allowed to have a stinker. So now that we're at that mark, I'll go ahead and so J-Mac, go ahead and give your last 30-second thoughts on whatever you want to say.
Let's hope for a better Monday night game.
Yeah, who picks these Monday night games?
Oh man, I think they should be flexed out. I'm just saying, because I don't want to cover teams like this that are irrelevant and don't matter. But everyone have a good week. We'll see you on Wednesday.
For Sports Minute, yes.
For Sports Minute is on Wednesday. So y'all have a good week. Thanks for watching. We appreciate every one of you.
So J-Mac, to go back on your point, next Monday we actually get Minnesota versus Chicago next Monday.
Oh my God, it just gets worse.
Hey,
I think I'm sick.
So we get a divisional game. All right, so
I think I have eye surgery that
you
day.
have 30 seconds to say whatever it is.
Brandon, no, I do not think rankings matter this year. I think they're all based on reputation. Just to answer your question for you. Please pray for my Los Angeles Chargers that they finally give Justin Herbert the wins that he deserves. That's it. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. You guys make this all possible.
All right, and mess around. You have 30 seconds.
Okay, so I know next week is my Bears against the Vikings. The last time we got to do a Monday night game featuring my Bears, they didn't show up, and I had nothing good to say about them. So I'm just hoping that the Bears actually are competitive and score some points and at least stay in the game. But with Dalvin Cook running over everybody and our defense can't stop the run, I think Minnesota's going to blow us out.
All right, and so my last thoughts of the night is one last thing is I want to remind everybody that our sponsor is Suzanne Paparazzi Jewelry. Suzanne's a bling, and I just want to remind everybody that it's 24/7 shopping available. All you have to do is go to paparazziaccessories.com or just call that phone number that's on the screen. And as you've heard before, the Vic has ordered stuff off there. It's fantastic stuff. You get it really, really fast. And then our last thing also is you can also win a free t-shirt. All you have to do is what? And I'll go to mess around. What do you have to do?
You just comment, like, and share. Have the most comments for the month. And and then share it. And if you don't want to do that, you can always pay $25 plus shipping and handling. I mean, most of our analysts don't have these t-shirts, so you can look cooler than we do.
Buy them for your family for your Christmas cards.
It'll look excellent. All right. So for that's pretty
Black
much
is
it.
swimming.
So that's it for tonight. I am Ace. I was joined by J-Mac, Mess Around, and the Vic. And we will all see you again. We will see you on Wednesday for Sports Minute. I hope everybody has a fantastic night.
Later.
All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making the plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. Great eye in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace up the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. Network. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.